Minister.
Senior Counsel. Honorable Nombalo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I just want to be clear on the question and the answer that was given there too. In relation to the appointment of Mr. Nkabinde as the Chief of Staff, was he appointed in terms of the response that was given when the minister was a Minister of Water and Sanitation, or when he was a Minister of Police, or a Premier rather? And subsequently, there was a mention of an intention to appoint during a discussion that they had General Mkhwanazi, Mr. Nkabinde, and Mr. Mkhwanazi. At what stage did that discussion take place? And also, the response that was not clear to me is a response on the relationship between General Mkhwanazi and Mr. Nkabinde. I think the question was asking a relationship in a context of their official duties and outside. Now, I'm not sure whether the question was only related to their official duties or outside, or they even have a relationship even outside their official duties. I just need clarity on that. Thank you very much.
You want to know the private part? Your question may be broken into 2 or 3. So please just satisfy yourself that all the 3 aspects of your question have been answered. Senior Counsel, remember you are the one who is leading evidence. So the Honorable Member has asked a question here, and can you please respectfully convey the question to the General?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. The question from the Honourable Member, General Mkhwanazi, did you hear that one?
Yes, I heard it.
Okay, then I won't repeat it because I didn't hear it so nice.
Honourable Chair, maybe to try and assist, I said earlier, myself and Mr. Nkabinde got to know each other on a professional level because he was working with someone that I knew. He was a colleague at IPT, a colleague of Mr. Mahlangu, the late. Mr. Mahlangu was a brother of a former police brigadier who was my friend. So I'm friends with Brigadier Mahlangu. Brigadier Mahlangu has got a brother who's Mahlangu, who works for IPT. And that Mahlangu works with Nkabinde. That's how I got to know Nkabinde first. So the engagement in Nkabinde was always about work issues, mostly, nothing else. Until he's out of the job, then we'll start telling me about how is he trying to make the ends living and how he's trying to survive on things. So we ended up having those casual talks with him. That's why I said earlier, I don't necessarily know much about his private life, not much about his family. You know, I will know his house, I know his wife and his 2 boys, but the rest, I didn't necessarily know much about him because we're not friends to that extent. It's people that know each other. So the engagement between myself and Mr. Nkabinde and the minister only happened on the day when Mr. Nkabinde took me to Mpangeni. I drove with him to Mpangeni where we met the minister. And it was just to show that he knows the minister and there was nothing else more that was discussed. There was no promise of a job. There was nothing else. That's why I said earlier, I cannot remember at the time whether the minister was at public service or was at water or what, but I like to believe perhaps he was already at water. But because I didn't pay attention, I cannot tell you exactly definitely the day when we visited which department he was working for. But I knew that he was a minister at the time. So therefore there was no telephone calls between us in relation to his appointment. So his appointment as a chief of staff, I said at the time he was working for IPT. He left IPT, he was unemployed. Up until the Minister of Police, Mr. Mkhwanazi, was appointed as a Minister of Police. That is when he invited Nkabinde to come and join him to work with him as a chief of staff. That was the first time Nkabinde got to be employed, literally basically moving from a very junior rank that he was holding in the police to a chief director position that he ended up occupying, which he occupies now, a chief director in the office of the minister. So that's why I said earlier, when he received the phone call from the minister asking him to become a chief of staff, he had no clue what is a chief of staff. He phoned me to ask me, what do chief of staffs do? Because the only thing Nkabinde knew is a case docket, because he was just an investigator. That's all he knew. So when he's invited to become a chief of staff was a shocker to him, but I ended up telling him about the amount of money he's going to be paid when he gets to that position. Obvious, I did not know about other qualifications that he needed to have, but he was appointed. He became a chief of staff. He is a chief of staff now.
I'm noting your hand, Honorable Malema. Let's allow the senior counsel first to facilitate for. Okay.
Chair, I really don't understand how you want us to proceed. Because it must be on the basis of technicalities, audibility, and things like that. If you're going to allow them to ask questions, we're going to ask questions. Don't do that. We agreed each member is going to get 30 minutes tomorrow. And if they ask questions now and tomorrow they ask questions on their 30 minutes, they've got 35 minutes. Are you going to afford me that? Please don't do that. The last question Honorable Sangoni raised, it's a proper question. It's a clarity, it's a procedural matter that, okay, now that this thing is not in the statement, what do we do with it? And the senior counsel clarified it. And that I accept that. What the general is being asked about is his relationship with Nkabinde, which is covered in the annexure from Madlang. He spoke about Nkabinde in Madlang. So remember, we've got this main statement, we've got annexures, and we can ask questions based on all of those annexures that are here, if you have gone through them. There's nothing irrelevant about that. But to ask the questions of why do you go to a minister? Is that a procedure to go to ministers? No, it's not clarity. It's not dealing with any technicality. It's a question that can be asked tomorrow in your 30 minutes. And if you're going to proceed like that, then they're going to get more time than all of us. And what do we do tomorrow? So it's unfair, Chair. Let the questions be on procedural issues, on technical issues. That's what we agreed on. Not anyone wanting to take advantage and we have more time at our expense. Thanks.